you guys are new here, you guys know I always say your favorite athletes are pulling up here on Ball Talk, so you guys have to tune in every week. And I have a guest who's been here before. We've been trying to put this part 2 together for a minute now, but we finally got him back. If you guys haven't watched my first interview with him, it was about 2 years ago almost. It was May of 2023. So I do have Daniel Booby Gibson here. How are you doing today?
I'm good. What's up? I told you I was going to be back. I told you.
You know, some of my people who watch my show have been calling for a few guests to come back, so I know they're happy you're back.
Yeah, it took a while. My schedule kind of picked up with the Cavs adding me to the broadcast and then doing some things in L.A. But I am glad to be back, and I was looking forward to coming back and chopping it up.
So, like I said, our last interview was almost 2 years ago, May 2023. Like you said, it looked a little different for you. At that time, you were coaching for the Charge. So what's it like been hosting Cavaliers Live now?
Wow, with the Charge, it was just, I love the on-court, like the player development and being able to mentor the guys, but the travel was crazy. Like, a little different from the league. And so for me, I felt like I could have a bigger impact with those guys if I wasn't on the floor, with them, and I had an opportunity to mentor them without being tied directly to the Cavs. So it was some things that I had to work through. And then the Cavs came back around a year ago and asked if I would be willing to, sub in for AC and Brad on the live show. And I always wanted to do that. Like right now, I live, eat, sleep, breathe basketball. And so any opportunity I got to talk about it and give my opinion and really just chop it up with the Cleveland fans. These are just ways for me to stay connected with them. And so when they asked me to do it, I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to just stay connected.
So the Cavs are headed into the All-Star break, as we know. I know they're best in the league right now, but it might be nitpicking a little bit. But what are some things that you want to see them improve in the second half?
Improve, right, because I feel like they didn't turn the defense up. I feel like the offense was already going crazy. And then, so I think lately, I saw Jared Allen like low-key body slam somebody in the Detroit Pistons game. And so I think for them, mentality is going to be big, because I felt like last year teams, when they wanted to try to disrupt us, they'll just really try to be physical with us, bump us off cuts, hit us. So I think that developing that mentality, like, nah, if y'all want the smoke, we got that too. I feel like, because if we have that mentality on top of the skills of the guys that we got on the floor, it's going to be real tough to deal with us, because that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. Everything going to slow down, and we're going to have to be willing to grind out games, and that you got to be tough.
I agree. I think as the season went on, I think at the start of the year they weren't as consistent, especially those bench players. So I think as the season has went on, we've kind of seen them get more consistent. And like you said, just them getting stronger and tougher in the paint. I think there's been a few games I've been watching, and our bigs have kind of let guards go right in on the paint on them. So I think that's something that they're definitely going to have to tone in on in playoffs.
Yeah, I think we got the best bigs in the NBA, though. I don't think it's another front court that can move, block shots, run the floor like our bigs. But, they are a little light. They could use a cheeseburger too.
Gained a little weight. What do you think about Evan Mobley taking threes recently?
My thing with Ev, he got all the tools, all the game. So for him, it's back to that mentality where we was talking about. Just come to the game and let people know, like, I'm here. So if that's shooting threes, if that's him getting a rebound and bringing the ball up himself and just going to work a couple times, like, he got the skill set to do all that. And I think that's why we drafted him so high, is because we felt like he was going to grow into that. So just seeing him now start to take that step, and he just got to have that, I don't know if I could cuss on him, but just that I don't give a mentality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's shooting threes, that's just playing his way and just having that presence out there, I feel like is important. That's what I feel like been his biggest step this year. Is just his mentality, I feel like, has changed. Like we knew he good, now he's ready to show the NBA that he good.
So the trade deadline was a week ago exactly. Before the Cavs made their trade, did you think they needed to make a trade? And if you did, who did you want them to get?
It's kind of hard to say we want a team to make a trade when you got the best record in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? But I did notice like some of the games when we play against like Boston or New York or even Milwaukee where they got like bigger wings. I felt like if we did do something, we should get a wing that could guard on the perimeter. We had the back court covered, we got the front court covered, and then obviously Dean Wade got hurt. He's a bigger wing, but the rest of those guys are like 6'5", 6'4", and so Tatum, Bridges, even Middleton, Kuzma, all those guys are 6'8", 6'7", and so I did hope that we would get a wing like that. I didn't know who. I was thinking the name Jeremy Grant had came up.
That's a good one.
Hunter, his name had came up, but just that type of player, that tough 3-and-D wing that just don't care about their shots, just really out there to cause havoc and play defense. I felt like that was the one thing that could put us over the hump.
I agree. I think we needed a small trade, but like you said, it was being the best team in the league is hard, and also like being afraid of wanting to mess up the team chemistry that they had, especially being the best. But what are your thoughts on them giving away Karis and George for him?
When you say chemistry, those are two the chemistry guys right there, like glue guys. Whenever I walk in the locker room, low-key George would be talking to the media before they even ask him questions. You know what I'm saying? He's one of them guys that wasn't afraid to talk to his teammates and let them know if they wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. And Karis was the hardest worker in the room. So those two were really tough in my mind to give up. But shout out to Kobe. I feel like he's always done his homework when it came to making these decisions. And watching the last two games of DeAndre playing with the guys, he fits in like seamlessly. We ain't got to try to figure out plays for him or find nothing, find a way to get him going. He just fits in with everything we doing. So if we were going to give up, I did not want to give up them two, but if we were going to give them up, I think DeAndre is the type of player that is worth at least seeing if he could put you over the hump.
So for the people who didn't watch the past two games, DeAndre did play his first game on Monday night against Minnesota. He started in that game. He played 23 minutes. He had 12 points and 1 rebound. Last night, the Cavs played against Toronto. Max Strus was back in the starting lineup, so he came off the bench, but he played 27 minutes with 18 points and 5 rebounds. So how do you think he's going to help this team in playoffs?
Yeah, this might be dating me, and like I know you might be too young, but Inspector Gadget, that's what I think of when I think of him. Like he got the go gadget arms, and literally whatever you want him to do on the court, he can do it. If you want him to play small ball 5, he can do it. If you want him to play power forward, he can do it. Play on the wing, he can do it. If you want him to guard the point guard, he started off guarding Anthony Edwards in the other game. If you want him to guard smaller guards, he can do that too. And so when you have a guy that you can put in a different scenarios, it makes your defense that much more versatile, especially when you got the bigs that we have. And so in my opinion, going into the playoffs, that puts us in a position to play different lineups against any team that we come up against. So now I put us in a position now, if the chemistry continues to stay the way it is, I don't see no reason why we can't be in the finals.
Okay, we're going to get into that in a little bit. So as a former player, do you think it's in the team's mindset, like no one's taking our spot, we got to stay number one to the end of the season?
I think as a player, you don't think that far ahead. You think next game, like we got to win the next game, and if we win the next game, that keeps us in position. But as a coaching staff and as a organization, I think we know what type of fans we got, and we know what type of team we got, and we know that if we playing at home against that Boston or that New York or that Milwaukee or whoever we run up against, it's hard to win in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Like, they bring it. And so I think in the back of their minds, the coaching staff knows that, like, we need to make sure that we maintain that number one spot. Because home court advantage, I think even when we beat the Magic last year, both teams won every game on their court. And then we won Game 7 at home. So it's like I think they understand how important it is to keep that number one spot.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we're going to get into more Cavs and all these other crazy NBA trades. And you guys know, like I said at the start of the show, 216 Day is on Sunday, so you guys know I'm going to be playing some Cleveland music during the show today. This is Ball Talk with Brandy on WOVU 95.9 FM. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Ball Talk with Brandy on WOVU 95.9 FM, and I'm still here with Daniel Booby Gibson, and we were talking about the Cavs season so far. So you briefly said that you think the Cavs could go to the championship. So how far you think they go in playoffs? And really looking at the Cavs season so far, the only team that they truly have to get by is Boston. So how do they beat Boston?
Well, I'm going to double down on that because I think that what Kobe had in mind when he got a guy like DeAndre Hunter, it had to be like a playoff type decision. What can we do to offset what they do, which is switch everything, and they have these wings all over the floor that everybody can attack you on. And so I think adding a DeAndre Hunter gives us that depth to be able to, deal with them. And like I said, New York and a few other guys have that. And so that's what I feel like gives us an advantage, because I've always said that we got the best front court in the NBA, the best back court in the NBA. And so it's like you put all that together with how we playing as a team under Coach Kenny, I think the sky's the limit, because there's really no clear-cut favorite outside of Boston because they won the championship last year. But everybody figured it out. New York figured it out. Milwaukee just made a trade. The West is wide open with everything that they did over there. So I think, I'm doubling down on the fact that I think this year we could get to the finals if we keep playing the way we play.
I agree with that. So before we get into all the other crazy trades that happen across the NBA, recently the past couple of seasons, there's been a lot of talk about NBA viewership. And on the other side of that, people have been talking about how many threes teams are shooting now. So for people that don't know, in 2004, the average was teams shooting 15 threes a game. In 2014, it was 22. This season, it's 37 and a half three-pointers, which is insane jump. So we know you were a three-point shooter. So 2 questions with this. Do you think that's causing NBA viewership to go down? And why are teams shooting so many threes right now?
Whoever started this whole analytics thing was probably somebody that never played basketball before, and he was just trying to figure out mathematically how we can get the most points on the board. So I say this first: if I was shooting if we were shooting 37 threes when I was playing, I would still be at the top of the Cavaliers history books in shots made. Even though I'm still up there in percentage now, I think I'm going to stay up there in that because they shoot too many. The percentage is going to be low. But back to that mid-range question, I do think that's a part of the reason why the viewership is down, because how creative can you be when all you're doing is shooting threes or dunking? I feel like a lot of the creativity like that I love from Kyrie, that we love from Kobe, that we love from Mike and all those guys, it happened in the middle of 3 or 4 guys in the mid-range being able to get shots off. So I think that if we get back to just letting guys play basketball and find the best shot available and not try to do this numbers game where everybody just trying to outscore the other team by shooting more threes, I think it'll become more fun and more entertaining to watch. And I'm hoping somehow the All-Star game does that with this new format they made. I'm hoping it does something similar. But I think with this trade deadline, I know you mentioned that, I also think that played a big part in the viewership too. That putting different teams together brings a little bit of excitement back to the league too.
Yeah, I think they said there was 22 million people watching Luka's first game the other day with the Lakers. Yeah. There's also been a talk about lack of defense. So how would you compare the lack of defense now in today's game?
It's crazy. I remember I couldn't get on the court for half of my first NBA season because I didn't know how to play NBA defense. I was fouling a lot. And coach wasn't gonna put me in the game, and I don't think coaches care now. If you can make a shot, they'll put you on the floor. And so I think that part too, takes away from the game the competitive nature of the sport. I think people like to see you compete. They want to see you struggling a little bit. They don't want everything to just be easy and everybody just shooting easy shots. I think the beauty of some of the basketball that we used to watch was sometimes we might throw the hands if it get a little too physical, but that's entertaining to people that's watching the game that want to see their team beat another team, and even if they losing, that fight and that competitive factor, I feel like it's gone. Guys don't take it personal if they get scored on. Teams don't take it personal if they losing. and I feel like that's taken away a lot of the essence of basketball for me.
So around the trade deadline time, NBA Today, Malik Andrews, Kendrick Perkins, they were talking about how drastic a trade that could happen at the deadline. Does that immediately push a team to a championship, or does it take time, like a season or two?
I think that question, I think it varies for different teams, because I look back last year, didn't Boston catch Drew Holiday at the get bought out at that trade deadline?
Yeah,
was that
he
the
did
last
get traded them 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know if that's when they won it right away, but I think that particular trade, and you added Derek White in that same buyout market, that put them over the hump. And so I think that it could happen for a team right away, but I feel like in most cases it does take like at least a half a season once you get the guy there, because everybody gets in, they want to play nice and pass the ball to everybody and not be themselves, and so it takes a while to kind of for everybody to learn each other. But if you find that right piece, I think though, for certain teams, and they could plug in, almost like a DeAndre Hunter, because in watching the games we've been playing, he just plugs right in. It's not like he has to, it doesn't seem like he has to figure a whole lot out. And that's when I feel like the transition happens a little bit faster. So I think it go both ways, but in most cases it takes a little more time.
So we obviously have to talk about the biggest shock, which was the Luka and Anthony Davis trade. Those fans are mad. I don't think I've ever seen fans more mad. They're still doing protests.
I think I remember they were mad. They was almost as mad when Bron made the decision.
That's true. That definitely compares. They're still mad at Bron for that.
They was mad at me for a while because during the game, I remember during that game, he came down there and was talking to me at the end of the bench. And the fans was just mad at me. What I'm supposed to do in this situation? Like, I get the competitive nature, but this been my brother. Like, and I still had the most points in the game for us. So obviously I'm competing and trying to go at him. Like, I'm mad. But yeah, that was a lot. But yeah, I don't know what Dallas was thinking with this deal. I don't understand the math of it. I don't understand with what they got in return for it. This gotta be the most shocking, craziest trade, I think, in NBA history. I can't think of one that was,
especially they made it to the finals last season. Right. So I don't get messing up that chemistry that they had. They could have went back to the finals again this year.
It's like if they saying Luka was overweight, right? You want to say he was too big.
That's been a big rumor.
Condition. He still led the NBA in scoring out of shape, if that's what you want to say, because he led the NBA in scoring last year. And if he was out of shape, they went to the finals while he was out of shape. So to me, that argument don't hold no weight, because you were successful while he was out of shape. So why would you trade him away knowing that all he got to do is flip that switch? And I guess they didn't want to put that max money into somebody that wouldn't listen, but I don't get it. I do think that the sleeper will be Dallas in the immediate future. If, again, I don't know why they made this trade, because Mr. Glass, AD, can't stay healthy. He always get hurt. But if he can stay healthy, and then they can get Lively back, they will have a team full of guys that's playing with a chip on their shoulder. Because I think AD kind of got through one of this. Clay got forgotten about. Kyrie's gotten his share of people talking about him. So all those guys on the same team, I think they might play a little angry if they can all get out there together.
So Luka's played 2 games now with the Lakers. They lost last night 131-119 to the Utah Jazz. But Luka hasn't played since Christmas. So how hard is it for a player to come into a new system but also coming back from injury?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little worried about after watching that Laker game last night. I'm a little worried because defensively, they just don't look like they can guard nobody. And if Utah can put up 120, 130 on you, you can only imagine what some of these other teams can do. So, to get back to what you asked, I think them two they'll find a way to make it work if they can get some bigs out there. And it is hard when you coming off of an injury. It does take you a little more time. But Luka ain't never been no defensive stopper or nothing like that. So I don't think he's just going to magically start wanting to get stop guys. So I think that's going to be the main thing for them to figure out in that Western Conference with so many talented rosters, how they gonna get stopped. I'm a little I'm a little worried. I know I said it's a bad trade, but for Dallas, I don't know right now what the Lakers are going to do. I think everybody's thinking because it's LeBron and Luka, they're going to go right away and win a championship. But defense wins championships, in my opinion.
So the Lakers did get Alex Len to try and fill the void of Anthony Davis. The buyout deadline is also March 1st. But the Lakers are 23rd in the NBA with their opponent scoring 50 points per game just in the paint. So
that's gonna get worse.
How do the Lakers stop their rim protection from getting worse?
That part, I don't know. I watched them last night, and they had all these long forwards out there from Vanderbilt to Hachimura to Bron to Luka. They all 6'8", 6'9", but they ain't 7 feet. And when Big Kessler Edwards, I think his name was, whenever he wanted to get a rebound, he got it. Whenever Clarkson wanted to drive to the rim and get a layup, he got it. So it's like, and then I saw teams like picking on Luka. Like, not teams, I saw them like run plays specifically to go at him. And I know he coming off of an injury, but that reminds me of what Boston did in the finals last year, which is why I think Dallas was a little quicker to try to make the trade. So that defensive thing for the Lakers, unless they magically, you know what I heard? That Mark Williams doesn't really want to, because Charlotte got rid of him like that, he not feeling them no more. So I'm hearing that he might try to get a buyout from them.
Oh, because the trade fell through.
Yeah, and still try to go to the Lakers. So that would help them, because I watched Lynn last night, and I don't know, he couldn't really get minutes for the Kings. I don't know how that's going to help the Lakers.
It's funny because I was watching NBA Today earlier, and Perk and them were trying to compare him to Timofey Mozgov and saying LeBron makes people good around him. Oh,
okay. You know what? I've experienced that, though. I have experienced like a forward that was more of a like defensive player, but when he played with LeBron, he turned into this layup machine. And so I could see that happening. Bron and Luka both. Yeah. I saw Jackson Hayes, look better the first time they played Utah. So there is something to that. But last night, watching them play in Utah, I didn't see it last night for sure.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the problems with the Philadelphia 76ers. And like I said, it's 216 Day this weekend, so more Cleveland music. This is Ball Talk with Brandy on WOVU 95.9 FM. Don't go anywhere.
Come on.
Brandy on WOVU 95.9 FM. I am still here with Daniel Booby Gibson, and we have got to get into the problems with the Philadelphia 76ers. They're supposed to be a top contender at the start of the season. They have a record of 7-6 when all three of their stars, Paul George, Maxey, and Joel Embiid, are playing. They're 13-28 in all of their games that they played. So Paul George also only had 2 points last night in their game. He was 1 for 7 from the field, and it tied his fewest points when playing at least 30 minutes. And he's also averaging only 16 points per game, which is lowest since 2014, when he only played 6 games in that whole season. How do they fix it in Philly? 2 points. And Maxey and them weren't playing. He
definitely be looking disinterested. I don't know where the disconnect happened when he got there, because a lot of the stuff, when I watch them run plays, I don't really see plays ran for him, and he's like y'all best perimeter scorer. I mean, I love Maxey, but PG get it done. So I think Philly's problems, though, they start with Embiid. Like right when my boy said he ain't playing back-to-backs or something, like this will be the last back-to-back of my career. Like, it's so many back-to-backs during the season. How can you even think that y'all gonna be a playoff team in your future if you not playing half the games? So I think that kind of was, I don't know why he came out and said that. He could have let the team just keep stopping him from playing. So I think mentally it makes you check out some of the other players. But like you said, they 7-6 when they all play together. So I still got confidence in the three of them. I just don't know if together is the right fit for those guys, because I really thought that was a good move for Paul George, and I thought that they would be a dangerous team in the East coming into this year. But it haven't worked out like that. But it starts with Embiid.
They also said Paul George has something wrong with the tendon in his pinky, so he's been getting injections the past few games. So,
Really?
one, people are saying like that is something that you wait for to do in playoffs to keep playing. So do you think that's going to cause him a problem? And with him only scoring 2 points last night, when does kind of you being out there, but you can use your injury as an excuse?
Yeah. Them Philly faithful, man, they'll make you get out there when you don't want to because they're going to be on your bumper if you're not playing. And so I think that's the pressure that PG feeling. Like, I made this big trade. I asked for all this money, and now, I'm not playing to the level of my contract. And that weighs on you a little bit. And so I agree. I come from a lot of injuries, and I was one to try to keep playing and play through it. But what ends up happening is you keep playing through it, and then by the time the playoffs come, it ain't did nothing but get worse. Mm-hmm. And so now they looking at you to take your game to another level, and you ain't got it. And so for me, being an injury-prone young man playing in the league, I don't think that's smart this early. But the fact that you just said their record is so bad, I think they are trying to do whatever they can to fix it. So shout out to him if that's what he's been doing to try to hold it down. But if you can't be productive out there on the floor, it really don't make sense for you to be out there. Like, there's a difference between like being hurt and being injured. And what it looks like is my boy might be injured and he might need to take some time. But I know Philly ain't really got no time to waste with the second half of the season coming up. So that's a tough decision to make.
So with all three of them playing, they're 7-6. They've only played 13 games together. Do you think they just don't work as a three, or is that 13 games not enough time to play with each other?
Yeah, I think they can play together. I think all of their skill sets they match well. But it does take time. Like, a DeAndre Hunter can come into a system because he's not a ball-dominant guy. He don't need the ball all the time to have to be effective. Mm-hmm. But when a Paul George come in, you got to give him the ball sometime during the game and just say, hey, do your thing. Like, find your rhythm. And I don't think that's happened. And so when Embiid comes back and they haven't had those moments, Embiid gonna get his shots, and then Paul gonna, play nice. It's Embiid's team, and Maxey and Embiid been playing together, so they gonna buddy ball it up. And so I think what happens is he's the odd man out. And I've been a big Paul George fan for years. I be wanting to see him get there, but it's always something. I don't know if it's injuries or teams, but it's always something that's stopping. But I think they could be scary, in my opinion, if they could get to a play-in game. Because if you think about Embiid not playing back-to-backs, once that part of the season comes, it ain't no back-to-backs. And I think that's kind of what he's trying to hope for. But it's tough to come from a 9 seed and win a championship. But if they can find some type of consistency on the court, I would not want to be number 1 or number 2 seed and have Philly coming knocking on my door while all them on the roster. I wouldn't want that either.
So I agree with you. Philly is definitely a sleeper team in the playoffs. What other teams do you think that these other teams can't sleep on?
Sleepers, because to me the East is light this year. It's light. I think we top heavy. Like, the top 4 teams is it. And then the rest, I don't really fear the rest of them. But one of my favorite players is just Trae Young.
I was going to say, that's literally Philly and Atlanta were my only two.
Yeah, because Trae Young, he can win a game by himself because he controls everything from the assists to the buckets. And that's why I'm glad that when Giannis went down, they gave him his love, because he should have got the All-Star bid before that. And so I'm glad that he got his opportunity, because aside from DG, I got to give my boy his love.
For sure.
He might be the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. So it's like, why wouldn't he get his due? And I don't know why people hate on Trae Young. They don't give him the credit he deserves for coming into the league and basically averaging the same thing as Luka. Literally, they give Luka all this love, and if you look at their numbers, it's nearly identical without the rebounds. And so I got to give Trae Young his love. And then on the West, I don't even know if I got a sleeper on the West, but I also don't think that Oklahoma City is ready yet.
That's something I've been telling people. They don't want to believe it.
Yeah, I don't think they ready yet because you got the experience factor. They got a little bit of that last year when I think they lost to Minnesota. I think that was who they lost to. They got the experience factor of that. And then when I look at their roster, it ain't a whole lot of people that can like really shoot the ball. Like you got Isaiah Joe, he gets hot. But outside of that, when it comes to the playoffs, teams gonna buckle down on Shea, and he's able to go get his 40 or whatever. But it's like you gotta have people that can open up the floor and knock down shots. So I think we'll see a little bit of that with Chet, because Chet coming back will change that some.
For sure.
Because he opens it up from the outside. But yeah, I'm curious to see how with all the pieces they added, how that look with Chet back. Because I don't know if they ready yet.
Me neither. The 7 through 10 right now in the West is Minnesota, Dallas, Sacramento, Golden State. Some of them might be playing teams, so I think, they're not any team to just sneak over by. But there were some trades with them. Jimmy's now in Golden State. Zach LaVine went to Sac. De'Aaron Fox left. He's now with San Antonio. Brandon Ingram went to the Raptors. We know Chris Middleton went to Washington, and then they got Kyle Kuzma in return. So besides Luka and AD, what was the most surprising trade that happened?
I thought Jimmy was gonna go to Phoenix. I thought he was trying to get out
Me
there
too.
with KD. So I didn't really even think about what a trade to the Warriors would look like. But after seeing it now, I like it. I think he gives them, because he ain't really a three-point shooter, but he gives them like a presence. Like we talk about that mid-range area where guys can get on the post and draw double teams. Jimmy is one of those people, and if you don't double him, he probably gonna get fouled. And so what happens is that opens it up for Steph, and if it don't open it up for Steph, it let him play one-on-one. So they lost last night to a beat-up Dallas team, so that kind of makes me question that take. But I think some more time together, I think that's another team that on the West Coast, you don't want to play against. You don't want to see them boys in no play-in game with Steph and Jimmy knocking on your door as the 8 seed versus a number 1 seed like a OKC or a Denver. You don't want to have to deal with Steph in no playoffs.
So we talk about Jimmy Butler possibly moving to Phoenix. In that, there was rumors that KD might have been traded. So obviously, trade deadline's passed. He's still there in Phoenix. Yeah. So how does he feel as a player that they wanted to trade him, and now he is there for the rest of the season?
Salty. I know he's salty. Like he just passed the 30K mark, 30,000, meaning he one of the immortals of this game. He one of the guys that's going to live on forever. They're going to always be talking about KD when it comes to probably the best, the most efficient scorer the NBA has ever seen, like from all 3 levels. And then they just going to just throw him on the table like that without even just asking him if he was cool with it. After the fact, I just think he deserved more respect from that. And it really just puts perspective into him leaving. I know everybody want to try to jump on my boy for going to Golden State when he did. And it was kind of tough for him to do that after they lost to him. But I think now after seeing Luka get shipped out without being talked to, I think people need to give him some more respect on standing on business and just saying, look, I'm finna go to the best team out here, because at any moment, if they felt like I wasn't good enough, or if they wanted to go a different direction, they don't got to ask me. They can just ship me off. And so I think right now he's salty, and I would hope that but all those guys don't got that long left to play. I would love for my boy to go this summer and just say, let me out here and go somewhere else. He can go to Lakers with
oh man, with
Luka and them, or go to Dallas with Kyrie. I don't know, but I do want to see him leave that situation, because I don't think Phoenix is doing anything with.
I know that was another team I think people thought were going to do so well with him and Devin Booker. Then Bradley Beal came after they got rid of Chris Paul. So I don't know. A lot of these big threes they've been putting together so far have not been working out in the league.
Yeah. See, I got to go back and give another shout out to Kobe, because last year everybody was saying, break them up. Like, we need DG over here and JA over here. And it's like, no, like we don't need this trio of players. Like, we done built these guys through the draft. Yeah, we traded for Dunn, and I think we traded for Jay. We done found these picks, and we done built these guys up. Like, sometimes that's what it takes. Like, I think Denver did that, and they made one move with Aaron Gordon that put them over the top. So I think that shout out to Kobe for holding the fort down and saying that building a team is better than just trying to go out here and find the biggest name you can put on your roster and hope it works.
Who are your top 5 players right now in the league that you like watching?
Watching. Damn.
I'll give my list first.
Yeah. Let me think.
If you guys know me, you know I got to put Kyrie at number 1, always.
He on mine, but I'm going to hold on till you done.
Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
He's exciting. I got to put Bron. I mean, he's 40 doing what he's doing, so got to put him on there.
Still must see.
Let's see. I'll add Shea, SGA. And I got to add a Cab in this list. It won't be right.
That was going to be my first one.
I'll add DG. That's my top 5.
So I would say that was going to be my first one is DG. He's just always been like my favorite, and just getting to know him and being around him as a kid and as a person. Like, that's my guy. He's, to me, got the shiftiest handles since Kyrie. Not since Kyrie. Kyrie's still in the league. But comparing to Kyrie, I don't think people give his handle enough credit.
For sure.
So I go DG first, Kyrie a very, 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 very close second, because that's still my dog. Then I'm gonna go KD.
That's a good one.
KD. And you know what, man? People like to get on my boy, but I'm going Big Joker, man. I like seeing the Joker lumber down that thing. Don't get no dunks. Don't jump off the floor, and he just be abusing all these guys. Like, he be dogging everybody. And probably go after the game, have a beer and a cheeseburger, and go watch horses and don't care. And then lastly, I go back to who I said earlier, Trae Young.
Okay.
Yeah, Trae Young is, I think, the best point guard in the game that don't get the love he deserves.
I agree. Ice cold Trae. Sometimes he's inconsistent a little bit. He game here and there, but other than that, he might be one of the best.
I think even when Trae is inconsistent, what's that? 22 and 9. It's still crazy.
Maybe a little
numbers.
10 or 15 in there occasionally.
Oh yeah, he dropped a 10 or 15. I gotta see them games. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. There's something there where he gotta be, his stats can't be empty. He gotta be, he gotta win with some of the numbers he putting up too. So I know there's that. That's probably why he don't get the love. But as far as just going out and just being a hooper, a lot of people ain't seeing Trae Young. You just roll the ball out and just pick up.
So we talked about we don't think OKC will sustain in playoffs. So who would you say are your top 3 teams right now in the league?
Top 3? We gotta go Cavs 1.
Of course.
Boston 2. And then OKC. OKC would be a 3rd, even though I don't know if they're ready to go to the championship. But I gotta give them credit for. I think they're only a half game behind the Cavs right now.
Yeah, they've been on the Cavs' tail the whole year. Yeah. What other teams you think won't sustain in playoffs besides OKC?
Sustain in the playoffs? You said besides OKC, that was my one. If the Knicks don't get Mitchell Robinson, because I think if he comes back, it kind of moves Cat to that 4 where he don't always have to be in the paint, guard the 5. He can kind of float a little bit. If he does that, I think they become a little more dangerous too. But if he doesn't come back, then
Cavs know about Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, I don't even like saying that name too much after last year. But also, I think that's a big part of why we bring in that grit, because I think we understand what the playoffs mean and what they feel like from dealing with them, because they're gonna be physical for sure. So yeah, I think with New York, they if they can get some more pieces, and then Milwaukee. I don't know if Milwaukee is built. I don't know if Kuzma can give them what Middleton did. I know they tried to make the trade to get better, but Middleton, he might have been slowed down as a player, but when it comes to big game shots, big moment shots, and shots that matter, he gonna make them. And so that's what they hoping to get from Kuzma, but I guess we'll see.
So All-Star Weekend is this weekend. Before we get out of here, who is one player that you thought should have made the All-Star that did not?
Is Sabonis? Did Sabonis get that other spot on the West? It was
Kyrie replaced AD.
Yeah, so I think Sabonis is leading the NBA in rebounds, and he been killing all year. I believe he should have got an opportunity. And I know my boy ain't played a lot, but Ja is just must see TV.
Of course, they're second in the seeding right now. But make sure you guys tune to All-Star Weekend. Unfortunately, Steph Curry is not participating in the 3-point contest this year. Don't know what that's about. But thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, your favorite sports girl here on WOVU 95.9 FM, and I'll